Happy Monday, February 23rd, 2026. We've got some really cool stuff to talk about today in comic book news. We've got the reveal that we're finally going to get Absolute Robin, which is, super exciting. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about two new titles that are coming to Absolute Batman and which characters those are going to be for. We're going to talk about the King of the Void himself, Noel, and what's been happening in his comics. All that and more. Let's just jump right into it. Okay, here it is. Something that we've all been waiting for. The reveal that we're going to get the Absolute Robin, and obviously this is going to be, his logo or something like this is going to be his logo. This is a partially redacted cover. I do want to, make that clear. The article here says, today, DC revealed the redacted main cover of Absolute Batman number 20, illustrated by series artist Nick Dragotta. The full unredacted version will be revealed in early April following the publication of Absolute Batman 19. So as we know, Scott Snyder has been doing this thing where he redacts certain parts, certain information about the comics leading up to the comics publication. I actually really like this strategy. I think it's kind of a shame when like a big reveal for a comic gets spoiled by the solicitation for the comics that comes months before it gets released. So I like the direction that he's going with this. I'm super excited for Absolute Robin. We have seen Dick Grayson in the Absolute Universe multiple times. He's an EMT, I believe. They showed him in the latest issue of Absolute Batman, which was issue number 17, I believe. So I'm not sure which version of Robin we're going to get here because I don't really see how that EMT turns into Robin. I'm curious to know who you would want to be the Robin of the Absolute Universe. Would you rather, Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Damian Wayne, Tim Drake, I'm leaving out Tim Drake, or even Stephanie Brown, those are all the characters that have been Robin. Who would you choose if you could choose anyone to be the Absolute Robin? That's my question. Let me know in the comments. But let's read a little bit more of this article. The press release shared a bit more insight into what DC Comics fans can look forward to upon Absolute Batman 20's arrival in May 2026. So here's a little bit of the solicit. As the dust settles in the city of Gotham after the loss of Redacted enter the scene ready to hunt. And more than one secret will be revealed in this seminal issue. The solicit teases while intentionally leaving Redacted in their synopsis. So yeah, there you go. He's redacting part of the synopsis, which again, I'm all for. Okay, so the second part of this article is my favorite though, because as it says, fans are already memeing on Absolute Robin. And this is hilarious because as you know, Absolute Batman is just a beefed up version of regular Batman, beefed up and poor version of regular Batman. So here's what people are posting about the potential of Absolute Robin. There we go. That's what the unredacted cover is going to look like. This is actually a leak of the unredacted Absolute Batman 25. This is amazing. And how awesome would it be if Absolute Robin really was just a big hulking jacked dude like Robin? But I mean, I think Scott Snyder, let's give him some credit, he's a little more clever than that. But I really love these this one in particular is hilarious. Okay, so let me know what you think about the fact that we're finally going to get the Boy Wonder in the Absolute Universe. If you could choose any Robin to be in the Absolute Universe, which one would you choose? And what do you think about these hilarious memes? Let me know in the comments down below. Next, we're going to talk about this. DC confirms next two Absolute Universe stories and a massive twist. A press release from DC Comics announced two new series set in the Absolute Universe. Absolute Green Arrow by Pornsak Pacheco, I'm sorry if I'm saying that name wrong, and Raphael Albuquerque, launching May 20, and then Absolute Catwoman by Che Grayson, Scott Snyder, and Bengal, launching June 10th. Both titles continue the imprint's mission to reimagine iconic DC characters in bold, continuity-free stories from top creators. DC also teased that the first Absolute Universe event miniseries will arrive in Q4 2026, with additional details to be revealed later this year. So that's big news as well, that we're getting a event within the Absolute Universe. I think that's very, very cool. Here we have a reveal of Absolute Green Arrow's cover. This gets me super excited. It looks like this is his symbol here on the right. Let me see if I can get this a little bigger. Yeah, there you go. Absolute Green Arrow for you. Wow, I thought this was a mask, but look at that. Maybe it is a mask. I don't know, but that's like his goatee there and his teeth. He looks very menacing. And then Absolute Catwoman, who we've already seen, but I'm definitely excited for her to get her own title. So this is really great as well. It looks like we have some other covers for Absolute Green Arrow that have come out so far. So here is one, if I can get rid of all these ads. This is awesome. That is so cool. What else do we have here? Okay, there's this one. Very cool. And here, this one right here. but I think this one is my favorite. I mean, this gives us the best like close-up look that we're going to have so far of absolute Green Arrow. It almost looks like he has like a skull for a head, so I'm not sure what's going on there. And he has a really cool looking bow here. It's kind of like compact, which I think is cool. And it looks like he's probably able to use that as swords. It definitely looks like that comes apart in his swords. So that's awesome. What a cool idea for a bow, like two swords together like that. And then you can, take them apart and use them as weapons. I mean, that's a really cool concept, I think. So yeah, this is so exciting. I mean, there's so many people out there that are huge Green Arrow fans. I have a signed copy of one of the best Green Arrow runs of all time. Green Arrow, The Longbow Hunters, signed by Mike Grell. If you haven't read this and you like Green Arrow, this needs to be on your radar. There's 2 omnibuses. They're awesome. So yeah, this is all really exciting. Let me know which title you're more excited to see, whether it be Absolute Green Arrow or Absolute Catwoman. I think for me, it's Green Arrow, even though I think both characters are really cool. Yeah, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. So on that note, I also want to talk about this article right here. DC will end a very popular Absolute Universe book, and Scott Snyder explains why. So I'll just let you know the book that is coming to an end, I believe in issue number 12, is Absolute Martian Manhunter, which is definitely a shame because I think it was one of the most unique of the Absolute titles, and I know a lot of people really loved it. But this article does explain a little bit what is going on and why that series is coming to an end. Artist Javier Rodriguez took to X today to reveal the gorgeous cover for Absolute Martian Manhunter 12. But in his tweet about the book, Rodriguez revealed to a stunned readership that this would be our last issue, and fans went nuts. So this is the tweet here. This is what the last issue's cover is going to look like. I think Martian Manhunter was, like I said, it was the most unique of the books. It deals with, psychology and it really focuses on the Martian Manhunter's telepathic abilities as a highlight instead of being like, green Superman, which is basically what he is in the regular DC universe. It was also like a kind of trippy crime related comic with the main character being in the FBI and obviously trying to solve crimes, all the while kind of battling this, psychic alien presence that's now a part of him after this like explosion or whatever. I haven't read all the issues, but it's out there. It's different. It was unique. I'm happy it happened. And the author does go on Twitter to explain how it's coming to an end and why. He says, "If we had continued, I worried we'd fizzle out, lose some of the magic. Right now, I feel that every issue of this book is special. I didn't want to jeopardize that. So part of it is a relief. And if we come back sometime in the future, we'll have worked out something worthy." And then he also goes on to say, "And it's been made very clear to us over and over again that we can come back and do more anytime we want. That is very possible." So that's good. It means that, Scott Snyder is behind them and saying that if you guys want to come back and continue the story, you absolutely can. But we want to end it here because we think it's gone as far as we think it should at this time. And we don't want to take away from the story as it is now by continuing on when we don't have, necessarily the right thing to go forward. So I think this is a positive thing altogether. Scott Snyder says, "Only ending because that's what brother Deniz and Javi decided, one of our best ever." So this was a decision by the artist and the writer. Sometimes I think that's good, like look at Star Wars. We didn't need those sequels, man. Sometimes it's good to leave something as it is, leave it good. And if you have something that's really great, you can come back to it. Like they said, they may do in the future. So I think that leaves us open to, the future of this comic, being hopefully bright, and it allows us to preserve the greatness of what it is. So if you're a fan of this, let me know. I haven't read all the Absolute Martian Manhunter comics, all the issues. I do plan to, but I need to get caught up on that one. There's so many great Absolute titles. So yeah, let me know if you're a fan of this. Let me know what you think about the series as a whole and the fact that it's coming to an end. Do you wish that it comes back in the future? Let me know all that in the comments. All right, next we're going to talk about the Null/Venom side of the Marvel Universe. I'm really excited for this. The first 2 issues of Null have come out. I've talked about this like several other videos leading up to this, just because I think this is really cool. I think Null is one of the coolest villains in all of the Marvel Universe, and certainly one of the most powerful. I've read the first issue. I haven't read the second, which came out last week. But let me tell you, the first issue really delivers. Just to get you kind of caught up, Null is the king of the void, right? He was the first being in the universe when it was empty. Then the Celestials came and brought light to the universe. And Of course, Noel didn't like that. He was able to slay one of the Celestials and forge his sword, the all-black Necro Sword, the God Slayer, one of the most powerful weapons in all of the Marvel Universe. And then he went on to slay many Celestials and gods, and of course, there was a battle between him and this antithesis of the all black with this golden spear, and then he was trapped inside of Clintar, which is like the symbiote world, but which we find out later is actually a prison. All containing Noel. And then he fights the Avengers eventually, and it's crazy. He like takes out the Sentry, even like one of the most powerful raw power characters in all of Marvel. He ends up kind of getting incinerated, but what we find out in this comic is that when there's an absence of a King in Black, Noel basically reforms. So he comes back. The concept here is that Hela is behind his capture here, and she is trying to drain his power to become the Queen in Black. But she can't do it just from him being in this cage. So she kind of sets him on this path. I don't want to spoil too much of this. I really think you should read this. This is a cool comic. If you are going to read some Marvel stuff, read this. Read Donny Cates' run of Venom. If you want to do some pre-reading before this, you'll know everything you need to know about Noel. Which, by the way, the best Venom run that there's ever been was Donny Cates' Venom. I mean, it was so crazy with Ryan Stegman as the artist. It was amazing. But like I said before, this comic does not disappoint. We even have here's a little preview here. He's ripping out someone's spine here. It is insane. Yeah, it gets a little violent, but I think this is definitely a precursor to what is going to be a really, really cool run here with Noel. And as we know, in the next issue, this is the cover for it right here, it's going to set up the conflict or the clash of Noel and this guy right here, Thanos. Come on, as a comic book reader, this is something we all want to see. Now, Noel isn't at full power. I'm not sure what state Thanos is going to be in. We'll have to see. Let me know if you are reading Marvel Comics, if you're currently reading Noel, and let me know what you think about this character as a whole. Did you read Donny Cates' run of Venom? Who do you think wins in a conflict between Noel and Thanos? I think Noel for sure if he's at full power, but at his current state, maybe I give it to Thanos. I don't know. This is an interesting question. Are you excited for this comic and the future of where this character's, going? Let me know in the comments down below. All right, the last story we're going to talk about is the fact that we have Ben 10 coming back to the comics. I don't know if you are familiar with Ben 10, but it seems like a lot of people are fans of this character. I mean, whenever I see like lists of the greatest, weapons ever in fiction, a lot of people say the Omnitrix, which is his watch thing here that allows him to turn into different aliens and stuff like that. So I see Ben 10 mentioned a lot in pop culture, more than you'd think. I loved the show when I was a kid, and I think it's really cool. We have a look at the issue of, this is going to be issue 1 by Dynamite Comics for Ben 10. This looks awesome. I love the art style here. It looks more, this looks more real than what the cartoon looked like. This art style is definitely an improvement to the animated look. Here we have some other covers here. This is looking great again. Oh, that's a really cool depiction of the Omnitrix. Let me take a look at that. Hold on. Oh, wow. That looks awesome. See some other covers. There's like a big fandom for Ben 10 out there still, I think. So I think this is, and with so many new people buying comic books nowadays, it's a great time to get into other stuff. Why not revisit this awesome thing that we all loved from our childhood, Ben 10, in comic book version? If you like Absolute Batman and you also liked the cartoon of Ben 10, read it in comic book version, So how does this series reboot Ben 10? Let's take a look at the article. In Dynamite's press release for the new series, it describes how this relaunch will also be a reboot of the Ben 10 concept, launching a revamped origin story, a straightforward, action-oriented take on Ben Tennyson and his adventures, updating the concept for a modern aesthetic and sensibility. Both those who grew up with the series and newcomers will get the definitive new Ben 10 experience directly from the creators. A wider range of tones and themes will be explored, from drama, comedy, to tragedy, and even the surreal. Okay, so that's really cool. This is a reboot with a revamped origin story, and then it looks like a more mature take on the character and the story. That's actually, knowing that, I'm for sure picking this up. I think this is really exciting. This is very cool. From there, the series will proceed in a manner similar to classic superhero comics, building the mythology slowly and surely, with approachable short story arcs. So, probably 6 comic story arcs. It seems like they're setting this up to be a long running thing. This isn't just going to be a miniseries, Here we have some, I'm sorry, this is just so cool. Some actual art from inside the comic. Maybe it's better not to get too many spoilers at this point. So yeah, if you're excited for this, for Ben 10 to come back, I know I am. I am for sure going to pick this comic up and read this because I think Ben 10 was one of the coolest cartoons to be on Cartoon Network, like of all time. And this cover gets me excited. The concept that it's a reboot gets me excited. It's going to be maybe a more mature version that is hopefully going to be a long running thing. I think is super awesome. Let me know if you're excited for this. Are you going to pick this book up? What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. Let's take a look at the new comic books coming out this Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. Absolute Wonder Woman with, of course, the Absolute version of Giganta on the cover, which looks pretty cool. The 9th issue of Absolute Martian Manhunter. We talked about this earlier in the video. That's going to come to a close at issue 12. Then we have Detective Comics number 1106. It looks like he's still in this like containment suit for this like kind of disease thing going on in the issue, which definitely looks interesting. I like the design and look of that suit. We have the Ultimates number 21. As we know, the Ultimate Universe is kind of coming to a close and all these stories are wrapping up. It looks like that's Ultimate Luke Cage there, which looks really cool with all those chains and stuff. DCKO tie-in Superman. Obviously, DCKO has been awesome, and we have another tie-in here with Justice League Unlimited. I'm excited for us to get past the DCKO kind of era of Justice League Unlimited because I think it's Justice League Unlimited is really awesome in its own right, and I'm tired of the tie-in issues to DCKO. I want it to go back to just being Justice League Unlimited, which has been really great. Anyway, I said Justice League Unlimited like a million times. We have a DCKO tie-in of The Flash. Then we have Green Lantern, Iron Man issue number 2. Issue 1 was great. So I'm really excited for this, new Iron Man series going forward. This is going to be really good. I think Void Rivals has been great. Infernal Hulk, this is on my list to read. I haven't read it yet. We have The Mortal Thor with amazing covers by Alex Ross and, of course, amazing writing by Al Ewing. Spider-Man and Wolverine, Skinbreaker, Rogue number 2, Harley Quinn number 59. We've got Gunslinger Spawn at number 51, which is amazing. I can't believe it's still going, but I guess, people really love it. So that's great to see. With a really cool cover, by the way. New History of the DC Universe, which I think this is really important, but this says the Dakota incident. I think I read the first 2 issues of this, but I need to go back and read, the continuation of this. But this is important, I think, and it's a really cool comic, definitely to pick up. We've got the Inglorious X-Force, which is really cool. I talked about this before. It is a X-Force team that features the Helverine and some other really cool characters. So I definitely want to be reading that one. I haven't read it yet, but it's on my list. So those are the comics. Let's take a look at the omnibuses coming out this week as well. We have Batman by James Tynion, Volume 2. Secret Wars Battle World, another one that I haven't read and I don't have in my collection. This is actually Omnibus Volume 3. Wow, I didn't know there was so much of it. This is Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars, I believe. We have Excalibur Volume 4. The Joker Bronze Age Omnibus. This one is actually a reprint. And then we have Conan Omnis because there just aren't enough of them. There's like a million of them. Then we have some other stuff here, but I think the highlights are really the Joker, Excalibur, and Secret Wars, and of course the Batman Omni by James Tynion. So that's all the Omnis and comics coming out this week. Let me know what you're going to be picking up in the comments. Let me know what you're excited for and what should be on my radar. Let me know all that in the comments down below. Okay, that's it for this week's comic book news. Let me know if there's anything major that I missed in this video. Let me know your thoughts on the different stories that I talked about. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.